So, hello there, folks. Welcome to season 5 of our On the Call series produced by the stars among us. This is Ozzy, and I'm very happy that you've tuned in to this thank you tour of mine, as each episode is a thank you card for those who have impacted my life. And on this third episode of season 5, I'm shining light on Lisa Gold. Hello, Lisa.
Hello, Ozzy.
Hello. So just let me intro you to my audience. Lisa attended North Carolina School of the Arts and the University of Cincinnati College-Conservatory of Music. She studied privately with several coaches and teachers in New York and Los Angeles. So I believe Lisa started doing some cabaret gigs. But one of the things that a lot of people would know is that at the age of 16, her first professional gig was as a singer-dancer in Hooray for Hollywood, which was a 5-show-a-day, 6-day-a-week show at the theme park in Charlotte, North Carolina. The name of the theme park was it called?
It's called Carowinds.
Carowinds. Right, barely 16. Got into owning Actors Connection. And Actors Connection is an organization that connects actors, artists to agents, casting directors, and other industry guests. I'm going to leave it like that so then Lisa can expand on that later on. Then came the coaching and consulting company called Act Outside the Box, which is a top double entendre for not only the acting, but also the action outside of the acting, the business part of the acting, which a lot of actors do not familiarize themselves with. And then she's also written a book, which I want to talk to you about. I didn't know much about this, but a book called 8 Steps to Reps. Lisa. I met Lisa at Actors Connection. Very much a powerhouse, very in tune with her surroundings, be they the actors or the cast directors, etc., who the actors would come there to see. The organization was one of the largest organizations of its kind. Was it also bi-coastal, Lisa?
Back in the day, Actors Connection was just in New York.
Okay. All right. And then Lisa jumped into the film arena, and she had some gigs on As the World Turns or My Children. I'm interested in finding out about the Hollywood Squares, to tell you the truth. I just have to think about that. She also can be seen presently on a national commercial for Jardiance, which is fabulous every time she comes across my screen. So much in a nutshell about Lisa. All that being said, I want to find out, Lisa, you graduated with music. How did you go from that to, what were your experiences between the graduation and Actors Connection?
Well, first of all, Ozzy, thank you so much for having me on your show. I really appreciate it. I love the acknowledgement that you give me by actually asking me. And I'm going to tell a story about us having lunch and how you've impacted my life, but towards the end. So the direct question you're asking is, how did I go from being a singer, being trained as a singer, to getting into a business that serves actors and singers and dancers?
Right.
I'm going to say that not everybody is born with an entrepreneurial spirit, but for whatever reason, I guess I was just lucky, because when I was a kid and very creative, I remember making things like crafts with my hands. Remember macrame when it was big back in the day?
Sure.
So I was like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old around that time in the 70s. Those who can do math really quickly now know how old I am. The point is that once I made it, I was like, well, this is all well and good, but I'm going to sell it. So I first started by going to my local plant store and offering them my creations, and they bought them. And what I started to understand was, they bought them for me at a certain price, and then they turned around and they doubled the price and sold them to their customers. So I was like, oh, okay. So early on, I kind of just saw that when you have something and you want to make money, you don't necessarily also have to make it. Long story short is that after being talent for so long and searching for the ultimate flexible day job, and realized that the purchase of Actors Connection came in the year 2000 from Bunny and Bernie Levine, who had kind of grown this as a mom and pop industry thing that grew up around them. And I took it on as a business. I've been out of school for 20 years doing what every creative does, every actor, singer, dancer, model, waitress does, which is, how do I get my next gig? How do I get an agent? How do I do this? And I, through all of those mistakes and failures, but also some wins and experiences, for some reason between that and my entrepreneurial brain, decided that I could buy a business. Like with no experience, no training, no business skills, no business classes, and not even reading a business book. I just wanted to create a space and a place for other people like me to come and have opportunities. And I just thought I could do it. I've always done a lot of personal growth and development programs for my inner self. And I do believe your inner work informs what happens in the outer world. And I just had a lot of belief. And so I went out and I got some people to loan me money, and my mom let me use some of her credit cards. And then I got a business partner. And so things kind of developed from there. And so Actors Connection debuted under my ownership May 1st, 2000, which also happens to be the day that SAG-AFTRA decided that we should all, well, it was just SAG at the time, decided we should all go out on a commercial strike. So that lasted for 6 months. It definitely impacted the business. Oh, and the copier died on the first day too. So here we are at the signing, buying the business, copier's dead, and there's a strike. Welcome to business, my friends.
Wow. So what was the difference with what you did with Actors Connection from what Bernie had done before? And how did you meet them to get into it?
Listen, referrals and people and your network, and I've said it before because I've heard it from others, your network is your net worth. Mm-hmm. And I was actually, like I said, doing what everybody does. I was thinking, I think I was on background on SVU or Law and Order show or something. I remember sitting outside in the grass, could have been a commercial, who the hell knows, and talking to this gal. I had worked at a similar place that shall not be named and had developed a skill set around bringing actors to meet with industry guests. And I wasn't liking where I was. And this woman, and I wish I knew who she was, I don't remember her name, said, "Oh, you should maybe talk to the Levines at Actors Connection. They're looking to sell their business." So it's just one person can say one thing to you that can change your life. And she planted a seed. I guess I reached out to them. They were like, "Who are you?" I met with them. I told them my background, my experience. They still said, we, need to know more. I ended up working for them for about 3 months, actually having them train me. They paid me, trained me in how they operated, because businesses like that, when you buy a business that makes and sells stuff, there's assets. Well, a networking company like Actors Connection has chairs and an email list and a reputation, and that's it. So there's no hard assets. So nobody's going to give you a loan to buy. So you pay the owners for 5 years. So I paid the money for the purchase of the business directly to them. And they had to make sure that before they sold it to me that I knew what I was doing. Right. So I had to prove myself. I did prove myself. I got a partner I trusted and knew had the same vision as me. And we just built the company and started to expand quickly. And the other thing too is this is all before the internet. I mean, the internet was around, but nobody used it in the year 2000. This is before social media. This is when we had hard copy flyers and we sent them in the mail. I mean, we've transformed so dramatically in the last 20 years, 22 years. Well, forgetting COVID. Right. It's adapt or die. And I've learned so much on the job. And then I went and took business classes and learned more skills and the like, and also had the opportunity to listen to agents, casting directors, writers, directors, producers, all of the people on the other side of talent, so to speak, who understood that they were in a business and that the reason for any business to be in business is to make money. And that is a subject that I find a lot of creatives don't like to talk about. They all want it. We all want it. But that's not our objective. Our objective is to bring our art and craft to an audience. And we'd like to make money. So that's when I went on to develop Act Outside the Box, because I saw people were in a box of what they knew. Like, go work on your craft, get a list, send out your headshots, do X, Y, and Z, and then maybe something good will happen. And I started to realize that if creatives, the talent, started to treat themselves as a product in a very oversupply side, saturated marketplace, and developed business skills and a foundation that every business who's designed to make money, that they would make money too. So Act Outside the Box was born out of my desire to have people be more successful with their art and craft by treating it as the show business that it is. Very long answer for your very short question.
Funny, because you're saying answers to some of the questions I was going to ask anyway, which is great. My question is now, you have moved on to do the Act act outside the box thing, separate to Actors Connection. Why did you feel that you had to do that? Or was it just was it just time for you to get out?
Well, there's no one reason for any reason people move on. There were several reasons. I'm a Southern girl and I love the sun, and I was raised in Florida, and I lived in Houston, Texas for a while, and I'd lived in California before I moved to New York. And I just never resonated with the Northeast, and I don't like the cold, and I don't like the dark, and I don't like inclement weather. So that was part of it. It was also during the time that I left running Actors Connection as the CEO, was right around the time we kind of had the fall of the economy back in 2008, 2009, when first time everything went to hell in a handbasket. So I started doing coaching on the side, and I liked it. I found I really enjoyed that just as much, if not more than, sitting in an office and running a business and editing and calling people and, all of that. And we also brought in somebody who was an angel investor who was supposed to kind of just keep their nose out of everything and didn't. So if I'm being authentic, I did not get along at all with the new person who was giving us a financial injection. So I decided, based on all of the above, it's time for me to move on. And then I got to return to California, where I love the weather and have friends and family and cousins. And I had nobody that I was related to at all in the Northeast. So it's a confluence of a lot of events. Been very, very happy with that decision. And now, of course, Actors Connection, because of COVID, has shut down its doors in its brick and mortar form and solely exists online. And I am no longer an owner of it. So now totally separated from the company, but I have my own company. Right. And I'm also I'm a working actress. That's all I have time for.
Well, one of the things that I still remember from my experience with you with Act Outside the Box is this: I'm an excellent and talented actor. I treat my acting career as a business.
The affirmations. One of the things that I like about running my own company and getting to say how it goes, all of it, is I get to work with like-minded people who are aligned with what I offer. And I'm very holistic. Like I said earlier, I've done a lot of inner work, a lot of self-development courses. And I think the reason that we do anything is because we want to be happy and joyful. And those are the most precious commodities, not the pile of money or, yes, the agent or the acknowledgement. We all want those outer circumstances, but we want those outer circumstances for the inner joy that it brings. So I'm really more concerned with people's inner joy and their ability to love what they're doing, even the hard parts, even the obstacles that we must overcome, even the constant rejection in this industry. Like, how do we keep our head on straight? And so those affirmations, Ozzy, are a big part of it. It's a holistic approach, partly an industry where there's no path. If we wanted to be a doctor, like if we were healers and we had chosen being a doctor as a career, there's a path to that. There's certain schooling you do, then you come out, and then there's residency and internships, and all of that. There's a path to becoming a doctor. And then there's testing. And when you test out, you go, yes, you move on to the next level. We don't have that in an artistic career. We have to blaze a path. We have to create our own. And so the book, by the way, that I wrote, 8 Steps to Reps, is the path that I kind of naturally identified through my experience at Actors Connection, my experience as a coach, and my own journey as a businesswoman in business, period, let alone this industry. I kind of identified these 8 steps to kind of go from where you are now to where you want. And then I wrote a book on it. So every creative out there needs some structure, because left to our own devices, we'll just keep creating and then go, oh, look over there, let's create that. Oh, look over here, let's create that. And to that end, we are unfocused, we're unstructured, and we remain starving artists.
Where can we find that 8 steps to, if somebody's looking for it, where would they find it now?
Well, I sell that little book. It's like a booklet. It's a very short, easy read. It's probably 10 to 15 minutes because, everybody's got a short attention span. You can get it on Amazon. If you go to Amazon to the search bar and put in 8 Steps to Reps Lisa Gold, it will pop up. I charge a mere $4.95 for wonderful information, and I give half the proceeds to my favorite charity, Best Friends Animal Society, because I'm a big animal lover.
I know. With your Is it a cat and a dog?
I do. I have a cat and a dog, and I will always have a cat and a dog.
Who were your mentors?
Oh my gosh, so many mentors.
Let's say top 2.
Well, for the inner work that I do, I'm a big follower of Abraham Hicks and the law of attraction. And anytime I listen to anything, I just go on YouTube and put in Abraham Hicks obstacles or Abraham Hicks morning motivation or Abraham Hicks and whatever I'm feeling or whatever I want to feel. And a YouTube video will pop up and I always feel better. That is my favorite go-to. Other mentors I've had, particularly in what I'll say heart-centered business, and I give great credit to where I learned a lot of what I now teach, is T. Harv Eker. He used to have a company called Peak Potentials, and then he sold that company, which is now called Success Resources. And Success Resources manages and hosts people like Tony Robbins and Robert Kiyosaki and all the big thought leaders in business and marketing. I did a lot of those programs live and in person many years ago, and definitely use all of the information I've learned about real estate and the stock market. And I'm a constant lifelong learner. And then lastly, I first started out my whole growth and development with landmark education prior to it even being called landmark education. They do a basic course called the Forum. But anything I think that keeps you positive and focused on your desires and the why you want them. We're all talking about motivation and inspiration, especially if you're a performing artist or any kind of artist who wants to make money with their art, a painter, a singer. You create something and you want to sell it or make money with it. It's a setup for upset. I'll just use being an actor as an example. So you finally do everything and you get in to meet 3 agents and none of them take you on. And then one of them takes you on and you start to get auditions, but you don't get callbacks. And then you get a callback, but you don't get the job. And then you get the job and then you're fired from the job. And then you get a job and it's a great job and you're on the cutting room floor. And then you get a great job and you did a great role and then the reviews come out and you're not mentioned in the review. And then you get a great job and the reviews come out and you get nominated for an Oscar. And then you don't win. And then you get nominated and you win. And then your next movie is a turkey. And then that's all I remember. It's a set up for upset, this entire freaking industry. So that's why I come back to, why do you want it so bad? Why do you have to do this? Why aren't you a veterinarian? Why aren't you anything else that has a path? Why aren't you a nurse where you can come out of the gate earning 70 grand a year after 2 years of study? Why this career? And if you are present to your why and you believe in yourself and you're motivated and you have a path and you treat it like a business, the world is your freaking oyster. Only way you can fail is if you quit. And so that's what I love the most about creators. And it ain't easy. That's my biggest beef with creatives is you're talented, good for you, and you want it to be easy. Although the hardest part is bringing your talent to market. There's a gap between creativity and commerce. The easy part is the creating. The hard part is marketing your creation. So what I do when I coach, and I do private coaching, when I work with my clients, I'm their biggest cheerleader. I'm a rabid dog on their, I keep them accountable and I move them forward by not being pushy, but say, let's create the plays that you're going to execute between this and our next session. And then we go out into the field of the sport. I'm just using an analogy, and you execute the plays and you come back and you go, well, that worked, or that didn't, or this obstacle came up. And then there's life. People have families and problems and COVID and people in war-torn countries, and there's death, and people have babies. And I mean, life, I say, gets in the way, but what are we doing it all for? So my job as a coach is to keep folks on track, motivated, present to their why, and teach them the business skills that they need to actually make money doing what they love.
Yay! So that being said, what do you like to do during your free time?
My dog is my passion. I mean, my cat is too, but let's face it, cats, my cat has a mind of his own, and he's wonderful. He brings me lots of presents in the spring, particularly birds and mice and creatures that I put back outside because he goes in and out. But Chica is a dog that I rescued, or she rescued me. We're the jury's out on that one. When I was visiting the Dominican Republic in 2015, she was a skinny, starving beach dog. I fed her once. She never left. And we've been together ever since. I brought her home. She's about 7 years old now, and she was about 6 months at the time. And that dog is my passion. So every day we go to the park, She loves to play ball. I take her to agility classes. She's just beautiful. And if I had more time and focus and energy, I'd probably train her to be a movie dog because she's just so smart. That's a passion. And I love the movies, Ozzy. I love sitting in a movie theater in the dark with popcorn. It's one of my favorite pleasures in life.
Right there with you. Right there with you.
Yeah. And we can do that again now, I'm thrilled to say.
Yes.
But before you close, and I know that we're getting to the end of our time, can I tell the story about when we went to lunch and you told me about jumping out of an airplane?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Because I tell this story to a lot of people. My birthday is on October 10th. And we had you and I a lunch. I think you won a lunch with me or something through one of the contests I was doing with clients. And so we went to lunch and I gave you a consultation and we were talking and you had shared about the time that you jumped out of an airplane. And my first reaction was like, oh, I would never do that. And then I stopped and I realized that was an old tape. I developed either that fear or that conversation, what came out of my mouth, and it was on automatic. And I said, wait a minute, let me check in. How do I feel about that now? And you planted that seed. And from that seed being planted, just like the gal who I talked to when I was on the set about buying Actors Connection planted a seed, I was like, I'm going to jump out of an airplane on 10/10/10 because I wanted to acknowledge October 10th, 2010. Right? So this is 12 years ago now, right?
Right.
And I did it. And I had no fear and I enrolled my friends. I had one other friend jump out of the plane with me. I had 3 other friends on the ground waiting with a bottle of champagne. I hired a videographer. If you go on my website to the About Lisa page and click the link, you can see the video of me jumping out of the airplane. It was the thrill of my life up until the point when we were at the door of the airplane. It's a tandem jump, right? You're attached to someone.
Right.
And then in those 3 seconds, my mind went, wait a minute.
Oh, really?
Wait a minute, what the fuck? And I was out of the plane. And then and just as quickly it passed.
Right.
And I was screaming and yelling and have the time of my life and felt free. And then 5 minutes later, because it's a very short time, I landed and it was the most exhilarating, thrilling thing, well, I would say I've ever done, but up until that point, I've ever done. And thank you, because I wouldn't have done that if you hadn't shared your experience and planted the seed.
I remember you calling and telling me, and I could still hear the thrill and the excitement and the joy in your voice when you told me.
Ozzy, have you seen the video?
I haven't seen the video. I'm going to go on and check the video out.
Great, because it's posted on YouTube and you hire the guide, he's got the music in the background. It's a lot of fun. It was just one of the joys. So I was going to try to do something really fun and fabulous on 10/10/2020, and we all know how that worked out.
Yes. We all know about that year, yes. But I really, really wanted to have you on because you are part of my life in this particular industry, right?
Yeah.
And you've always come across as a very open, positive, caring person. In that conversation you and I had, when you acknowledged the yes to the skydiving, I was like, not many other women our age would have that mindset to get up and do it. And when I got that call that you did it, it was just so joyful. But outside of that, meeting you, and I was amazed at the company that you had built and the machinery, the smooth machinery of it. I didn't know all the other stuff behind the scenes, but that combination of actor with casting directors or agents, etc., was a wonderful scenario. I was positively in awe of you,
That's so kind of you to say. And here's the thing, it's a tool. That company was a tool. I think that if you know how to use a tool, it can be of great benefit. But if you don't know how to use a tool, it doesn't help.
Right.
And so it was actually out of people misusing the tool that Actors Connection was that I created Act Outside the Box. I'm like, okay, let me teach you how to use the tools now. Let's see what tools you have. Let's see what tools you need. And I can teach you how to use them in a way that you'll get further faster. So
this one, and the way you're doing it is also on kind of a one-on-one basis, which is a lot more personal.
Can I tell you a little bit about what's going on these days?
Yes.
Okay, so I do private coaching. If anybody's interested in private coaching who's listening, just go to my Contact Us page. My website is called actoutsidethebox.com. And there's a contact us page. Just send me an email through there. And I also do small group coaching programs that have a start and a finish, usually 3 to 4 weeks at a time. And I have a series called the CEO Business Foundations for Creatives, where I do start to really investigate this conversation and treating it like a business. Like, for example, what you mentioned, how you saw the flow of how Actors Connection worked. Everything starts out as a project. And then once the project is kind of formulated, then you move it to a process. And the process is kind of testing what works, what doesn't work. And then once you figure out what works, then you have a system. And when I work with people privately, and when I teach you this in the group programs, you want to create systems that work for you. So you can rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. That's the thing I think that actors in particular and creatives of all kind, you keep creating new stuff and you don't have a system, you don't have a foundation. And you go, oh, let me try this over here and over here. That's not how businesses work. So I do group coaching. That's also on the website under programs. My next one is in April. I don't know when this will air, but in 2022, the next one's in April. And then the one after that's in June. And then I do have some DIY, do-it-yourself courses, which takes a lot of the content, videos, audios, podcasts, written content, and puts them into courses that you can consume. Those are lower cost for people that need lower cost things. So I provide a lot of value at many different price points. And then I do a lot of free stuff. So I also do an 8 Steps to Reps free webinar all the time. You can find out about that also on my website. I'm doing one tomorrow night. I do it for schools. I do it for organizations. And the reps part is basically everybody wants an agent or a manager, and they really don't know the proper way to get one. And I was one, by the way, forgot to tell you that. I don't know, Ozzy, if you knew that. I was a head of the commercial department for 90210 Talent in 2016 and 2017. Came away with even more perspective. So I do that free. I also do a free quarterly planning and goal setting session. So there's a lot of things that are of value to creatives of all kinds. Just go to actoutsidethebox.com for more information.
Well, my dear audience, you have a lot of jewels there to choose from. And I want to say thank you very, very much, Lisa, for allowing me this time, especially the day that you've had. and I want to also thank my audience for spending your valuable time with us today. Please care to share. And remember, when you're on your beat, stay on the sunny side of the street safely, be health conscious and kind to one another. Lisa, it was lovely catching up with you. To hear your voice is a wonderful thing. To hear the laughter of that voice is also a wonderful thing. It's still there.
On the sunny side of the street.
You know, I'm going to talk to you about something another time, but thank you so very much for being
welcome.
Here. And maybe we could do some bungee jumping next.
Ooh, that's something I haven't tried yet either.
That's
yes,
amazing.
I'll just say yes.
All right.
Okay, Ozzy, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Talk to you soon.
Hey there. Please help us in our mission to support those facing fatal diseases through our t-shirt sales by donating or shopping at OzzyStewart.com or supporting us at anchor.fm/OzzyStewart. That's anchor.fm/OzzyStewart. And don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel at Ozzy Stewart. Yep. Leave a comment.